not necessarily, we can argue all day. You can call me anti-vax, I can call you pro-vax, but as parents, we should be able to make decisions for our children. I don't fear the chicken pox.
That's all I was, I mean, yes, I would really not go over well in today's world if I was a parent. I would just be in fights and it would just be ugly. And then my kids, my hat is off to anyone who is a parent today, because I honestly feel it has never been harder to be a parent, because you're not allowed to boss them around.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point of having kids if you can't boss them around? And also, how could you possibly control a feral little monster like that if you couldn't boss them around?
I know.
It's insane that they treat them like they're just short people.
Like, yeah, adults. And that's weird too. I was actually talking with somebody that was here before you came in here about sort of the LA spell, because there's something weird about parents in this particular bubble, this particular part of LA, where they think that the children are adults. I don't understand. We don't want to tell our child no. I met a parent that said that. We don't believe in telling our child no. And I just said, okay, well, when he rapes someone who's 13, and he says, my mom never taught me the word no, there were no boundaries.
Right.
I mean, whose fault is that going to be? I mean, it's...
This country reminds me of like a medieval European country where a 5-year-old ascends to the throne and inherits it. And so all the courtiers have to pretend that whatever brain fart comes out of the mouth of this 5-year-old toddler, yes, is something that we have to take seriously and treat as valid and debatable. That's what this country is.
That is very accurate.
What's going on, everyone? It's House Queen here today, and are we treating our kids like adults? Like, Candace Owens recently went on an interview with Bill Maher, and I know there's a lot more exciting clips, like how Candace Owens called out Bill Maher's Trump derangement syndrome. I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty much clipping that. But I want to kind of focus on this part of the conversation where they were talking about parents' rights and do parents have rights over their kids. And I always made this point that it seems like in modern culture, there's things that's always trying to grab your kids' attention. Social media, mainstream media, Hollywood. And in the intro, Candace Owens kind of point out some of the problems because Hollywood's in Los Angeles. And she was talking about the LA parenting's perspective. Oh, we don't tell our kids no. We treat our kids like adults. If my son says he's a girl because he knows exactly what he wants at 5 years old. And if you disagree with that sentiment, you can go to jail for that. And this is the problem with regulation. Based on what is the regulation founded on? Is it founded on a perspective or on reality? This is not reality. And the fact that they're trying to push this stuff into our schools, right? Because I already told you that, guys, this public schools and school in general is a place where you transmit values to your children, regardless if you agree with it or not. This is why conservative parents, and this is something progressives see, conservatives see, but liberals seem to not want to pay too much attention to it, but shout out to Bill Maher for calling it out. We've given children so much authority and agency in their life to the point where now it's becoming a detriment to themselves, right? If you like, the prime example of this is if you let a kid decide his diet, he'll eat candy, ice cream, chips all day. Like I'm dealing with it, my 3-year-old. My 3-year-old was like, I don't want chips. I was like, nope, you're eating food. Like the kids are not mature enough to actually be like understand trade-offs, because that's the difference between an adult and a child, right? An adult understands, hey, there's cost to everything. If I decide to do something, if I decide to not do something, there's a cost. Kids don't understand that. They don't understand long-term ramifications. And this is why kids need parents. And this is why I always find it funny when teachers come in and they try to, I have to protect the kid from the parents. And I'm like, yo, you're not responsible for feeding the kid. If any medical emergency happens to that kid, you're not responsible. You're just merely a caretaker. But this is this is the progressive view of trying to create almost a in common type of thing. It's communistic in a way. But, I think I've been ranting too long. I want to get into the video a little bit more and kind of give my reaction to this, because I found this interview very, very fun. Let's get into the video.
It is very accurate. That was a very incredible analogy.
It was.
Pockets of the country, though, I would say. pockets, particularly here.
Right.
You don't see that stuff in Tennessee. Like it is.
Well, that's the
yes, ma'am, no, sir. You know what I mean? And they don't play around with that stuff. And that's what I love about the South.
And that's why I completely understand why people move to places like Austin and Nashville.
Yeah.
And this is what they attacked me for so vigorously when I did my editorial about trans, which, you know, I feel like, again, a great demarcation between what liberal is, old school liberal, and woke. Liberal believes trans is, of course, a real thing and they should be protected and respected. Woke is like, well, before they can like tie their shoe, we tell them they very likely might be in the wrong body.
See, and that's the problem a lot of parents have, is like you're causing confusion. Like I stated in my earlier point, is that kids can't differentiate between reality or perception, because all they know is I listen to authority. This is why I said kids are the most vulnerable people in society. So you can't take contested ideas, very subjective ideas, and tunnel it into them without resistance. Like, to me, as a parent, I believe it's my right to instill my values into my kid. And parents, I see parenting acting almost like a filter for the kid. What do you want your kid to be exposed to, and what you don't want your kid to be exposed to? And because it's assumed, right, and not always the case, but it's assumed that because you're the parent, you have that kid's best interest at heart. You're the adult who's most likely to have that kid's best interest at heart because of what? You're genetically tied to that kid. That thing's closer to yourself. Like, a child is the closest thing to someone, like, to yourself in this world, technically, other than your brothers, your family. But you get the sense. There's a loyalty there, and there's an obligation inherent in parenting. And for teachers to come in and say, "Oh, we gotta protect our students from their parents," huh? So what? This is something that liberals always struggle with. Like, I have a progressive friend of mine, where he tried to get me on this gender neutral thing. Like, when I had my son, and I was telling him, "Hey, look, my son is gonna know he's a boy." He said, "Oh, what? Who decided that?" I said, "What? It's been this way since the beginning of time, bro. But for some reason, in 2022, we came up with this fascinating idea. Oh, well, gender is subjective. Gender is the way you identify." And then you make the point about race. Okay, not all black people are African American, so can't technically anyone identify as black? Oh no, you can't. It's because of skin color. Okay, there's a hard-coded reality in my son's DNA. He's XY, his chromosome. From birth, he was male. And how he commonly identified male was man. It's in the name. It's in the definition. Adult human male. But you want to redefine words. So the question I ask is like, are you trying to transmit values to my kid? Or are you just trying to educate my kid on reality? There's two paths. Pick one. But the progressives who are pushing this stuff in schools, they'll try to make a claim that, oh no, we're trying to educate them about reality. Reality is observable. Where can I observe this difference of opinion? You can't. It's a difference of perspective. You're seeing the same thing, but you're calling it different. That's word games. That's not reality. And I think this is what I always make this point. Left don't care about being right. They care about being popular. And when you care about being popular, all you have to do is you're trying to convince people, not trying to demonstrate truths to people. And I think that's the difference between a conservative and a liberal. But I digress. Let's get back into the video.
I ran your segment on my podcast, actually, because it was brilliant.
Great.
Yeah, on Real Time, you did the segment talking about, okay, if this is a real thing.
Why is
sort
it
of showed this
regional?
geography.
Why is it regional?
Brilliant point.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's like me saying my definition of man is only regional and conservative areas. But if you look, regardless of politics, you can find demonstrable proof of my definition of man, adult male. The liberals will call it adult human female, or they'll try to remove the male part, adult human who identify as this or with feminine quality, whatever. It's a change of definition. But end of the day, like, language has a function. Language function is I'm trying to communicate what I observe to another person. That's the whole basis of language. Not to tell people how I feel. It's, hey, this is what I observe. Because at the end of the day, if you're in war and a miscommunication can be fatal. If I said that woman has a bomb, and you think women's whoever they identify as, you're gonna mistake a man and I'm thinking on a different definition, bro. It's chaos, and that's what I'm thinking. I think a lot of people, I don't want to say they're naive. A lot of people do not reflect on the ideas that they spew in social media, but I think it's because of anonymity. Like the fact that you can't put a face behind a name, it gives people kind of a shield to put out a bunch of dumb ideas, and then it gets traction because everyone's thinking the same thing. And that's kind of the trade-offs with social media. This is why I think just like a kid cannot decide their gender or can't wrestle with the concepts that these progressives keep trying to push into schools, I also think kids can't properly emotionally manage themselves on social media either. I believe in an age limit. It doesn't have to be legislatively. I just think parents need to be more active in their child's lives, because there's a stat out there. The average parent spends about 30 minutes with their kids, and that's usually around dinner time. If uninterrupted, there's no 30 minutes. You know how many hours the average kid almost spends on social media, especially girl. Oh, I made this biggest point. There's a reason why girls have they got a lot of mental health issues and all this stuff, is because they clock a lot of time on social media, like about 8 hours a day type stuff. 8 hours on social media, 30 minutes with you. Who's influencing your kids? I think the smartest thing you could do as a parent is to restrict social media access. This is why the dumb phone thing is becoming popular with parents in the modern culture, because we realize the negative effects of social media, and we still don't realize the negative effects of social media. But I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Yeah.
Why is it so
brilliant.
regional?
Yeah.
What is it? The water here in California?
It might be.
I've been to dinner parties, more than one, where there's 12 people and they're all talking about their trans kids. They're all.
Scary.
It's almost like that's the norm.
Yeah.
And that can't really be the norm. I mean, I get it that things happen in nature, mix up at the factory, whatever you want to call it. Nature, I know the religious people like to call it, what do they say, intelligent design. It's not that intelligent in a lot of ways.
No.
I mean, in a lot of ways it is, but there's a lot of stuff about the human body and the way we're built and the way we, like phlegm, I feel like, is very often unnecessary and only makes things worse. I wish I could talk to my own body and say, we don't need this phlegm.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to help, but you're not really helping, because I don't think I think it's giving a place for the bacteria to nestle in.
Right. Well, it's funny because I'm not going to complain, but
As I cough up a bunch of phlegm.
So I kind of disagree with that point when he talks about, there's not a necessity for certain things. Well, we don't have modern medicine like we did in the centuries before. So in the centuries before, that phlegm was like, this person's sick. It's used as a sign, a signal to everyone else, like, oh, this guy's sick. Stay away from him. All right. It notifies you. It's like someone saying, hey, what's the necessity of pain? Imagine a world where no one can feel pain. Pain is unpleasant. No one likes pain, but pain is necessary. So to me, I tend not to question things that I cannot change, right? Maybe in the future we'll be able to change that, but even then I still be like, no, there was a reason for this. And just because we don't understand the reason, and this is the typical liberal perspective, looking at something and say, I see no reason for why this thing should be here. Let's remove it, right? And as a conservative, you tend to think, hey, it's here. It must have served a purpose to be here this long. If I do not understand the rationale for why this thing exists, I won't touch it. The common example with him saying, well, what do we need phlegm for? I'm like, hey, maybe it's a signal your tribe that you were sick, notify you that you're sick, so you shouldn't be around other people, right? It's to notify you, because if you didn't have phlegm, you wouldn't know you were sick. And what happened if your tribe has doesn't have the proper immune system for a cold? Your whole tribe dies, right? That's why, when we're sick, it's visible in our faces, right? Just like pain. I just made a better analogy about pain, because no one can really argue the necessity of pain. You need pain. Pain helps you. Hey, you're not living in reality. Oh, I could wield fire with my bare hands. That's not reality. Pain notifies you, hey, you're hurting your body. And it allow you to make a choice. Do I do actions that will preserve my body and protect my body? Or do I hurt my body, destroy my body in the process to appease my ego? That's what pain does. Pain brings you back to reality. And I think we're going through our own type of cultural pain today. But hey, I digress. What do you guys think in the comment section, bro? Let me hear your thoughts. I would really like to hear it. I'm trying out different things, different ways. I don't want you guys to get bored of a consistent format, so I'll try to switch it up even here and there. But as always, my commentary will be consistent. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.